Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Los Angeles Chargers, they finished this season on a low note. They ended up losing 31-28, guys. So much to talk about. Again, it's the last game of the regular season, and I know we're excited that the Chargers are going to the postseason. And we already know who they're going to play and where they're going to play. They're going to take on Jacksonville next weekend, first round of the playoffs. And of course, that game will be in Jacksonville. But guys, so many things to talk about today. And we kind of discussed it on the last show as far as what would be Brandon Staley's plan for starters and how long do you keep them in the game and what you should do. Now, all three of us kind of had different opinions on what we should do. Mario and I both said that they should not play the starters, and Josh said 100% they should play the starters. That's not what happened. Okay. Look, I'm a guy that said I was a big fan of momentum. I said he played the starters. I would have done exactly what Brandon Staley did, is play the starters, trying to win the game, go into the playoffs with a 5-game winning streak. Mario kind of went in the middle, right, Mario, where you said, hey, I play him a half or a quarter, and then you kind of get, the legs warmed up. You kind of get that game feeling, not 2 weeks completely off, and then all of a sudden you're ready for Jacksonville. Josh is the one that said, no way, you do not take a chance of losing a star player. You cannot afford to lose a Keenan Allen, a Joey Bosa, a Justin Herbert, or a Mike Williams. Mike Williams is the one that gets hurt today. Into the first half, a couple minutes left in the second quarter, Mike Williams is the one who's carted off the field with a back injury. Josh, what were you thinking when you found out Mike Williams was carted off the field?
I was thinking, doesn't anybody listen to me around here? I couldn't, dude, when I saw it happen, I just couldn't believe it. But I could believe it because this is the most Chargers thing of all time. The weirdest things happen in Denver. I've been saying that all week long. Once again, it happens. Mario mentioned on the last podcast, the most Charger thing of all time would be to lose this game, right? Lose all the momentum. I said the most Charger thing of all time would be you actually play your players and you still lose the game. What happened today? That. Now, all your confidence is killed. All the momentum that the team had, that I had for Brandon Staley going into next season. This is our coach. He's done enough. Completely don't feel that way right now about Brandon Staley. He did not do enough to get the team ready to go into the playoffs. If we drop this game to the Jaguars because of the show pouring we had this week, bye. Bye, dude. Seriously, bye. Sean Payton, you can't come soon enough. I'm so pissed off the way this thing ended. It shouldn't have gone down like that, man. If you're going to play your best players, then you got to win the game. You can't give up 30 plus to Russell Wilson and the worst offense in the NFL. I'm pissed, dude. I'm pissed. I'm happy the team's making the playoffs, but the way we're going in is not the way I wanted.
I'll say it. Josh was right. Right, 110%. So the first drive that they had, it was a beautiful drive. They go down, they score. It was beautifully executed, beautiful planned out. And I was like, you know what? That would actually be a great way to stop it. And I was hearing Josh's voice in my head. I'm like, hey, that was good. Hey, we still got it. It's like the old man when he has your Dave's age, and you see your kids playing basketball, and they give you the ball and you shoot the first shot and it goes in, and you go, I still got it, and that's all you do. You don't go play 5-on-5 because then you realize you don't got it anymore, and then you get hurt. That's what I thought of today, and they didn't do that. Piss poor showing by Staley, just absolutely piss poor. Very frustrated. 31 to Russell Wilson. Just even besides that, the fact that they've played the guys until literally the fourth quarter was just mind-blowing. Just when we were trending on social media, it's not because of how great we are. It's because how stupid we look. That's just not a good thing.
No, you're absolutely right. The rest of the country could not believe what was happening in that Charger game, and it had nothing to do with the score. It had to do with who was on the field. People were talking about it across all the games. I was sitting there where I had a setup going where I had all the current games that were on, and the announcers were talking about it in other games, that Justin Herbert is still in the game, and that what was Brandon Staley doing. And even during the broadcast of the Charger game and the national broadcast, not the home team broadcast, but the national broadcast, they talked about their meeting with Brandon Staley this week about how he wanted to go into the postseason with momentum. Basically, everything I said. So, I'm wrong. Mike Williams, again, is the one who's hurt. There's a question mark right now, and Brandon Staley's wrong. The deal is nobody cares what I think. They do care that Brandon Staley gets the final call, and then you put Mike Williams basically postseason in jeopardy. It was disappointing on a bunch of aspects, I thought, in this game, guys, even if the Chargers won this game. And you could tell it then the Chargers were not trying to win this game. With about 2 minutes to go, you could tell, but hey, you know what? We aren't going to do anything. Let's just get off the field with the health that we have. Final score again, 31-28. But there were so many things that happened in this game that were bothersome. Mario, I agree with you. The way it started, where the Chargers get the opening drive in the first quarter, boom, down the field, touchdown pass to Keenan Allen, 11-17 remaining in the first quarter. You're going, great. We look fantastic. And then the Broncos, they drive right down the field. Latavius Murray scores a touchdown, and you're going, okay, that's one. And at the time, I thought Russell Wilson looked absolutely terrible. I mean, I was like, Russell Wilson's almost as bad as, we've been trashing him every week. And then all of a sudden, Russell Wilson looked like the old Russell Wilson. He started looking pretty good. It was really one of his better games. If you're a Bronco fan, you're walking out of that stadium today and you're going, that wasn't bad. Maybe there's something there. Maybe with the right coach, Russell Wilson can get back on track. He showed some good things. Jerry Jeudy was insane. Looked like a Hall of Fame receiver when you're able to get him the ball. The thing is, as successful as Jerry Jeudy was because the Chargers weren't doing their job. And defensively, especially in the defensive backfield, was very bothersome how open some of these guys were. That's not how you're going to go far in the playoffs. And I understand that, Bosa's not putting pressure on Russell Wilson, and he's not, getting a bunch of snaps, and Derwin James is out of the game. There's still too many things that were breakdowns that have nothing to do with the star players you took out of the game. It's schemes and being able to see how deep is your team, and they didn't show much depth at all. I thought the Chargers were pretty bad and pretty scary today. And as excited as we were a few days ago going into the postseason, and, we aren't the Chiefs where we go every year. We're the team that goes in once every 5 years. And when you go in, how far can you go? I didn't like what I saw today. I didn't like what I saw on a bunch of aspects. The turnovers bother me. The turnovers that equal points for the other team. I mean, you take away those turnovers and the Chargers finish on the right side of the scoreboard. One of the rare games where the scoreboard wasn't important, that was today. And for the Chargers going into the postseason, man, I did not like the rhythm of this game at all.
I'm trying to think about what bothered me the most about this game. Was it that we once again can't run the ball? We showed that we can't run the ball at all. Austin Eckler had 34 yards. Joshua Kelly had 18, ran for 59. Is it that we can't stop the run? The Broncos ran for 205. Is it that we exposed ourselves so that you can throw the ball over the top and eat all day on our defense, which was the case today? I mean, everything you didn't want to happen happened. You lose the game, you play your starters, and you get a guy hurt. It was actually impressive. Once again, impressive by Brandon Staley to get all three of those things done at the same time. I don't understand. It was impressive is the word. The thing I don't understand is you play your guys the whole game, right? And you're obviously losing. Then you get back into the game with Chase Daniel at the end, and then you blow the game. It's like, why would you just keep the starters in? You've already played them this long. You want to win the game, right? You obviously want to win the game. So why wouldn't you just keep them in at that point? You're just going to prove, we can't win this game anymore, so we're going to put our backups in just to get our hearts broken again. I didn't like anything about it, dude. I don't understand the mindset of it. I don't understand where he's coming from, Brandon Staley, when you already know you're going to be in the 5th spot. There's nowhere to go. You can't go up or down. So why would you take this stance? What's the thinking behind this?
I was thinking too, why would you want the press that comes with this? Instead of after this game, no one at that press conference is asking about Jacksonville. No one's asking about like what your game plan is, what you think of last night's game against the Titans. It's all, why the hell did you play these guys? That's all. And then is Mike Williams okay? What's Kenneth Murray up to? Joey Bosa, he got a little banged up. Is he okay? Like, you have all these distractions, and you guys both hinted at it. Like, the players kind of even looked confused on the field. Like, after that first drive, they weren't really like playing that hard. Like, they were more of like, so is this our last series? Okay, so we have one. So is this going to be our last one? So it's more of focusing on like, hey, are we done? And not focusing on the game plan, focusing to win. And then now we're in this spot where tomorrow morning on every sports radio station, on every sports TV, when they go through the NFL Week 18, at one point they're going to go, Staley, what the hell were you doing? That's exactly what's going to come across as. It's not going to be what an exciting matchup between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. It's going to be, what the hell were you doing? And now the Chargers don't have a bye week, which they could have used this week as kind of like a mini bye week against the Jaguars, who just had to play a very hard game against the Tennessee Titans to win the division. Instead, we played a half-ass game against the Denver Broncos, and Russell Wilson threw for 283 yards.
Look at Jerry Jeudy's numbers. Look at Jerry Jeudy's numbers right there.
Yeah, 5 receptions for 154 yards. That's a 30. That's a 30.8 average. 30.8 average.
Yeah. Crazy. You brought up a good point. It would seem like the players didn't know what the game plan was as far as how long we're going to be in the game, right? I mean, obviously he made it clear he was trying to win the game for 75% of it. Then he decided, I'm not trying to win this thing. It reminded me of Josh. I was just talking about this the other day, the whole Night at the Roxbury movie with Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell. You, me, who's going in? Like it was confusing where it's not like that. With it, you have a veteran coach. Andy Reid teams aren't like that. Mike Tomlin teams aren't like that. Bill Belichick's teams aren't like that. Now, I know 2 of the 3 guys I just said aren't even in the postseason, but this is another one of the Staley deals where you're like, man, you've been in the league now a while. I mean, how is there not a game plan? This is one of those games, guys, I'm guessing, okay? Again, I'm just guessing, is that Brandon Staley is going over his game plan with Tom Telesco as far as the general manager and what they're going to do. What is the plan? If we already know that we're the 5 seed and we're going to take on Jacksonville next weekend in the playoffs in Jacksonville, what are we doing with our starters? And you don't want to take Brandon Staley's legs out from underneath him if you're Tom Telesco and say, no, we aren't doing that. But at the same time, he has to understand, at what point are we worried about our team's health? The fact that Mike Williams right now is a question mark is extremely scary. And then let's say Mike Williams didn't get hurt. I think we'd still be doing a show in a way of saying, whoa, you're playing with fire there. Something bad could have happened, and we all would have been still questioning it. The fact that we're able to question it because we don't want to be right. The fact is we know how good Mike Williams is. If you listen to the Bolt City podcast on a regular basis, you know that all 3 of us are big Mike Williams fan. If you're a Charger fan, Mike Williams is really, really important to this team, and it would be a shame not to have him in game 1.
Yeah, it's one of the big advantages we've spoken about this whole season. The Chargers are one of a handful of teams that can say they have a legit 2 number 1 receivers on both sides of the field. I mean, besides the Bengals, how many other team can really say they have 2 number 1 receivers? Now you're just taking that away if Mike Williams isn't able to go next week against a Jaguars defense who looks pretty damn good. The Jaguars do have a good defense. Mike Williams is going to be extremely essential. Everybody knows this to win any games going forward. God, dude, I know I'm harping on the same thing over and over again, but it is unbelievable. Dave said it earlier. You go on Twitter, and we're the laughing stock. We're the team everybody's laughing at. What are you guys doing over there? I don't know. They don't listen to me. That's what I said. I'm trying to respond to as many as I can. I'm on Twitter, just trying to save face for the team, for all you guys out there. Like I said this going in the week, don't do it. Nathaniel Hackett's probably like, this guy can't coach for anything.
And there's so many other dumb moves made today. Lovie Smith won a game today for no reason. For no reason. Like he
pulled his
Jets.
He pulled his Jets.
He had that could have been the story tomorrow when they do here at Odyssey when Uberry Bet does he's a slap or come on man that ESPN does. Lovie Smith, his name was there. And then he's going, you know what? I don't think I'm in there anymore because Brandon Staley's coming in and going, you're good, buddy. Go, you're good. Go ahead. You're okay.
Hold my beer.
You look good. Yeah, hold my beer. Hold my IPA. That's probably what he drinks. It's just, it's actually incredible. And Mike Williams being hurt, the thing that even scared me, he couldn't, when they go to the shot of him getting carted off and he's going to the training room, he needed help getting off the cart. And I'm like, that is just not a good sign. Just very dangerous. And after the big hit that happened to Austin Eckler, what I'm talking about in the red zone by that linebacker?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, I needed to go to the hospital or a heart rate check or something because I thought that was a concussion right there. I thought that was some type of injury. We were just playing fire the whole time.
Is the Mike Williams deal. Josh and I, we're talking about this a few weeks ago where, you see guys who are carted off the field. And every time you bring the cart out, you see guys leave the field on the cart, you get scared. And you're like, then when the guy goes off the cart and gives the big thumbs up, I'm good. And it's like Mike Williams, that was one of those, not good. The thumbs down. No one ever does the thumbs down. I'm not good. This isn't good. Yeah.
We're not the field. I'm not good.
Yeah.
Dude does a big 2 thumbs down in the Denver crowd. Not good. It stinks, man. I mean, overall it stinks. I tell you what bothered me also is you always see, come on, especially in football, Knicks man up. And we all hear that, right? Knicks man up. What the hell, Joshua Palmer? Seriously, since Atlanta, when he has fallen basically out of getting his reps and that Keenan Allen's back and Mike Williams has been back, what's the deal with Joshua Palmer dropping these balls? I mean, he's still in practice. He's still catching balls from the same guy. How's he all of a sudden become a guy that's not reliable? What is it, 6 drop passes? And you're going, come on, man. You're an NFL receiver. You're trying to make your mark. You want to be a number one with either the Chargers or another team down the road. And now as Justin Herbert quarterbacks, Josh, you play that position. When a receiver drops a ball, you never forget it. As Aaron Rodgers talks about it all the time. I know which guys I can trust, which guys I can't. The fact that Joshua Palmer right now doesn't seem to have reliable hands bothers me a lot. DeAndre Carter with that goddamn fumble. Before it happened, I called it. I wrap up, hold the ball, boom, fumble. And you're sitting there going, come on. What are you doing? You're trying to contribute. One of your big guys just went down. We all saw it. What are we get? We didn't get from you in the postseason. Can they put you on the field and rely on you to hold on to the ball? Can you make the plays? We got an opportunity to make a big play, and what did you do? You messed up. You screwed up. You completely changed the whole game. Josh knows me well, knows I'm trying not to swear. It irritates me. Irritates me. That I'm like, this is your opportunity. And his teammates know it. Everybody knows it. We can't rely on you. You can't rely on number 5, and you can't rely on number 1 right now.
Yeah, that's the big problem, right? If you don't have Mike Williams for the next game, DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer are the 2 guys you need to absolutely step up, and you can't really rely on them at all. DeAndre Carter has 2 fumbles on this year, which is too many. 2 of the things that drive me nuts about receivers is when you jump at the line of scrimmage, when you're looking right at the ball, it drives me absolutely nuts. And then when you fumble, it's like, dude, you get the ball like 3 times a game, DeAndre Carter. You can't hold on to it. Come on, dude. You're the guy that returns the punts, for God's sakes. You should know about ball security. He's literally holding the ball up here like he's freaking, I don't know what, like Deion Sanders. Like, he wants somebody to knock it out of his hands. Dude, come on. Figure it out. You're in the red zone. It drives me nuts. I'm just so pissed about this whole thing that went down today. Nothing was good out of this game. Nothing at all. I just wanted to ask you guys, going into next week, how confident are you with the matchup with the Jaguars? I don't know if you watched the game yesterday. I watched all of it. It's an ugly game, but you knew that's what you're probably going to get between the Jaguars and the Titans. Mario, are you confident going into this game, going down to Jacksonville, that the Chargers can win?
So I'm going to try not to be like too recency biased with like this past game against the Broncos, but I will say this. The Jaguars defense last night, let's be honest, really won the game for them. If we're really counting about, like, Trevor Lawrence played an okay game. He didn't play like a great game. There was no like Trevor Lawrence arrived. His stats were okay. 20 for 32, 212 yards, 1 touchdown. But the defense was the story of the game. That part scares me. How crazy good Allen and Walker were off the edge. That part scares me. What does give me, I guess, hope was that Trevor Lawrence thing of, I'm not seeing the killer. I'm not seeing the, holy hell, we just gave the ball back to Trevor Lawrence and we just off the 3rd and out. What the hell is going to happen? I didn't feel that, where I think that is its side on Herbert. We're like, wow, so we just scored and you went on 3rd and out and you're going to give it to him again? Tough one, buddy. I would really close my eyes on this one. I'm not feeling that for Trevor Lawrence. So in that level, yes, I feel confidence, but that front of Allen and Walker off the edge really, really gives me some Sunday scaries. And then to go on top of that, Mike Williams, man. Like, dude, the back, please be some icy hot. And we're back, man. I'm curious what you think here, Dave, because the Allen and Walker, you can't tell me those guys didn't scare you a little bit last night.
Of course. And tell you, the linebacker play, Jacksonville's defense is no joke. Couple things with Jacksonville. I know we're going to break down this game, in depth on Tuesday and Thursday when we talk about getting ready for the postseason. But a couple things. One is Trevor Lawrence has played outstanding football. He's never played better in his career than he is right now as an NFL player. So they have a 5-game winning streak. They have the momentum that we talked about before. I mean, if you're Jacksonville, you have to be on cloud 9. I mean, who would have thought Tennessee would drop, 7 straight, whatever the hell it just was, and all they had to do was win 1 game to lock up a playoff spot. I mean, Jacksonville comes out of nowhere. Trevor Lawrence is playing great. Let's be honest about his receivers. His best receivers are number 3s on good teams, right? Christian Kirk's a number 3. He's not even a number 2, in my opinion. Zay Jones is a number 3. He's not a number 2. And so those are his targets right there. And he's playing great. Like, this is not Jacksonville's time. Down the line might be, you can say this is Jacksonville's time. Trevor Lawrence is ready as a quarterback. The franchise is ready. The rebuilt in all the positions that they need to get stronger in. I honestly do not believe it's this year. That being said, I just was looking through every single Charger game this season played. The Chargers have only been completely outplayed in one game the entire year. That was the Jacksonville game. Every other game the Chargers played, and they were in every single game. All 17 games the Chargers are in. Win or loss, the games are right there for the Chargers where they battled from beginning to end. Don't forget, I know it was week 3 of the season, and it was all the way back on September 25th. But Jacksonville came to Los Angeles and won 38-10, 28-point lead against a Charger team. And you're going, that shouldn't even happen in the NFL. I mean, that's a big, big score right there. And I think at the time, Jacksonville hadn't won even a road game in years. And then all of a sudden, not only they win that game, they win by 28 points. The Chargers had no chance. And you, at first, I'm trying to remember what we said all the way back then, but you're going, okay, you're looking at the scoreboard going, there's still time. There's still time. And they realize, man, there's no time. There's no time for this team to battle back and get that win. So, again, 38-10, they lost in week 3. Both teams are completely different than what they were all the way back in week 3. I understand that. But yeah, at the same time, you have to respect it. You have to respect the fact that Jacksonville is able to pull it off. And right now, if you were to ask their players, their fan base, their owner, they would say they've never played better than they are right now. And just like we said about momentum, they have all the momentum right now. That fan base is losing their mind. They've had nothing to cheer for since, basically 2017 when they went into the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, right? I mean, they haven't done anything.
They haven't done anything since then. The thing that I'm optimistic about is this matchup with the Jaguars is what we wanted. I'd rather play against Trevor Lawrence than Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson if he plays. Any of these other quarterbacks are literally superstars and MVPs and national champions. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is too, but Trevor Lawrence isn't the guy really that takes over games. Not yet, at least. I think Trevor Lawrence has a big future in front of him. He's going to be a great quarterback. He's already a really good quarterback, but he's not really taking over games at this point in his career. That's why I'm optimistic about this matchup. The game against the Titans was a total outlier. I can't remember a game where a team had 222 total yards on 47 plays for an entire game and won. It just doesn't happen. 222 yards. That's how many Jerry Jeudy had in the second half today. That's how many yards they had for the whole game. It's nuts. So that's the one thing I'm optimistic about. The Jaguars' offense did not look good. The Chargers' defense looked really bad though today. I think hopefully it's kind of what Mario said, where the guys were looking over their shoulder, like, "Am I coming out yet?" It was like a prolonged preseason game. It was weird. So that's the thing I'm hopeful about. Chargers' defense, pass defense, usually is tops in the league. Besides today, they've been really, really good. So hopefully the defense can step up, man, because I think Justin Herbert's going to do enough to get us some more points next week. But I'm happy that it's the Jaguars. I did not want to go to Baltimore, even though that team's, I don't think, very good. It's still Lamar Jackson. Nobody wants to play Lamar Jackson. Nobody really wants to play against Joe Burrow. So we should be happy it's the Jaguars.
I completely agree. Like, even though we're like complaining right now, the Bengals, not only like we said before, a team we don't want to play, they have a chip on their shoulder. The whole coin flip thing, that was everywhere today. And that was a sign of, like, what the hell? Like, we don't agree. This is the dumbest thing ever. Like, that was a big chip on the shoulder, a big little FU that they have coming. And I think that would make me want to play them even less because they're like, okay, this is a team that has a little bit of anger behind them. I'm all set. Like, thank you. I'll maybe see you next round where you can take that out on another team. So I think that's the other part where, like, I do agree with you, Josh. I do think we really lucked out in that fact. I really do think, too, today that, like you said, this was like a preseason game, but they never told them when they're coming out. Or this was a game where they saw what happened in the Bengals game. They saw the Bengals beat the Ravens, and they knew it was official. And every guy was like, I mean, I don't really care about this game. Like, why would I? Like, I could just see that. Like, me personally, I know I'd be going in there going, okay, yeah, I want to beat them, but why does it matter? I have something that means way more next week. So why am I worried about Jerry Jeudy right now? Like, congrats. You haven't had the best year. I'll let you get 150 yards, even though it makes my eyes bleed. But I don't know. Like, I do think there's a factor today in this game where the players were like, why does this even matter? Like, what? Like, where's the competitive edge? Yes, but also it's like, why? Like, why am I here? Kind of.
So let me ask you, Mark, when I bring this up, can you at the same time, will you look to see if they have playoff spreads for next weekend? I'm kind of curious to know where things are favored. So looking at the playoff picture for the AFC, because we already know the AFC is done. As we're doing the show right now, the only thing we're waiting for is Sunday Night Football to see Packers or Seahawks, which team is in the postseason. But otherwise, we already know the AFC is done. So we all know the Chiefs have the number 1 seed. Okay, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed, and they get the bye. Next weekend, though, you will see number 2 Buffalo taking on number 7 Miami. Weird, we just saw that game, right? We just saw it. So it's the third time they're going to match up. You're also going to see number 3 Cincinnati take on number 6 Baltimore. Weird, we just saw that game. So now you're going 2 games to start off right there. We don't have the playoff schedule, so it's not in the order the games are going to be on television. But these are teams that now have to face each other 3 times. The Jaguars-Charger game is the one in the AFC where it's the second time they've met, but not 3 times. So is there an advantage facing a team 3 times? And at the same time, those teams outside of the Chiefs, is there one clear-cut team where you go, that team is far and away the best team? Even though the Bills have the number 2 seed, do you believe the Bills are the second best team in the AFC?
No. Cincinnati Bengals are the second best team in the AFC. They might be the best team in the AFC. I think the Bills are great. They're really, really good. Top 5 team in the NFL. I'd rather play them than the Cincinnati Bengals. That offense is insane. I just want to touch on something also by the Bengals that we have to talk about. Joe Mixon doing the coin flip celebration was completely tone deaf. Like, dude, The guy's life is on the line, and you're doing the coin flip celebration. It just was unnecessary. I thought it was just dumb. It really just over the top. I don't know if you guys feel the same way I do, but I thought that was crazy. I don't want to play the Bengals, like Mario said. They're angry about the whole thing. I don't think they should be as angry as they are. The guy's life is on the line. It's way more important than football. But the Cincinnati Bengals in general are a team you don't want to play. The Kansas City Chiefs are the wild card team where they don't have like an offense. It's hard to prepare for the Kansas City Chiefs. They do like a backyard football thing. He did the ring around the rosy thing the other day, which was dumb. But they do that backyard football thing where they throw the ball all over the field. You don't know where it's going. So nobody really wants to play the Chiefs. And then the Bills, I just don't know what the Bills are, man. Josh Allen is weird to me. He's like the best quarterback in the NFL, but he can also be like the worst quarterback in the NFL where he just throws like the weirdest interceptions. So if you're going to ask me who I'd rather play, it sounds crazy because everybody thinks the Buffalo Bills are great, which they are, but I'd still rather play them over the Cincinnati Bengals and Kansas City Chiefs.
Mario, we can't hear you, but sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I completely agree. Like Josh Allen has these plays where, like that dime to Diggs today, we're like, God, this guy's Superman. But then he has that pick where you're like, you Nathan Peterman? Like, what was that? And like, why did you do that? And so that is like the weird thing, and that's where it's like that gives me pause. But at the same time, I think the kind of the good thing about him and that team is that like he can afford to do that because his defense does back him. He does have a strong defense, a strong secondary behind him that goes, okay, you can make those mistakes and we do have you to cover your rear end. Where I would say, I don't think the Chiefs really have that luxury. I don't think their defense is that strong. Bengals more so have that luxury, but again, you don't see Burrow and Mahomes kind of make those mistakes that Allen does do. The whole ring around the rosy thing for the Chiefs, like, okay, like, cool. Like, you were really bored in practice this week. You're like, guys, let's just have some fun today with this game. All right, we're not in 5th grade anymore. Like, come on. I'm not a big fan of those plays. I never have been. The old man line, don't get too cute with it. That's my thing right there. Don't get too cute with it. Just play football. You guys mentioning the lines for next week for playoffs. We have 3 lines out for next weekend. These are all games that on BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, all has it on Saturday and all at 4 p.m. And it's Ravens, Bengals, Chargers, Jags, and Dolphins, Bills. And I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think the spreads would be for each game? If you could guess.
Josh, you want to go first or you want me to go?
You go. I'm curious what you have to say.
All right. I'm going Bills, Dolphins. I'm going Bills 4.5. I'm going Bengals, Ravens. I'm going Bengals -7. I'm going Jags, Chargers, and I say they're gonna go Jags. I said they're gonna go Jags -5.
Why? Why do you think it's gonna be?
Why do I think so? What would I take that bet on the Charger side? 100%.
But why do you think they? Yeah, why do you think they go -5?
I think right now Trevor Lawrence is in the throne. I think right now they think Trevor Lawrence is the king and that Trevor Lawrence isn't Clemson Trevor Lawrence, but right now the country has fallen in love with Trevor Lawrence. And they're when they place these when they put the spreads out, they're obviously trying to get even play on both sides, but they're trying to dare people to take the Chargers. Just for the same reason almost we talked about the whole year, that most of the country is not paying attention to what Justin Herbert and the Chargers are capable of doing. I think they're going to disrespect the Chargers.
We're going to get into this week, but I think the Chargers are definitely the better team than the Jaguars. The only thing the Jaguars do better.
I think there's money there. There's money there.
Yeah, there's money there for sure. The only thing the Jaguars definitively do better than the Chargers is run the football, and they didn't do that at all against the Titans. So I like that line. If I'm a Chargers better, which I might be, I'm taking the -5. I'm taking the -5 because we have the better quarterback, we have the better receivers, we have the better everything almost. I'm taking the Chargers. Even though we do this show for the Chargers, I absolutely think the Chargers have the better team.
Okay, hold on real quick, Mark, before you say anything, because I know you have the answers. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question before you start giving answers. I would take Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. Okay.
Yeah.
I know Josh would take Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. You would probably take Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. Well, that's my question. Would the rest of the country say I'm taking Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence?
Dude, you're out of your mind if you're not. Dude, hold on. You're out of your mind if you're not taking Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence does not do that much. He doesn't. Do you watch the Titans game? That's what he is.
Yeah.
Dude, that's craziness. If people across the country really are that dumb to think that
people
Trevor
are in love
Lawrence,
with Trevor Lawrence.
Why?
Two reasons. Okay. 2 reasons. One is they've watched Trevor Lawrence's 3 years at Clemson. A lot of people don't stay up to the East Coast, stay up till 10 o'clock at night to watch Oregon games. And 3 as good as Trevor Lawrence, or 2 as good as Trevor Lawrence is. I'm just going to skip 2. As good as Trevor Lawrence is and Justin Herbert are, that Justin Herbert doesn't get the attention that he deserves. Now, I think he's going to get it later on in his career. I didn't think Phillip Rivers got the credit he deserved. That Charger football, I think nationwide, isn't respected.
Jaguars football is not respected. So I don't know why people would want watch the Jaguars games and think this guy's the next coming of Jesus. What's the big deal? I watched Matt Leinart and Vince Young in college. They were great. What is that? I don't get what you're trying to say.
All right,
I'm not saying you're saying this, but people are got to be idiots to think that Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Herbert.
I would
argue that with how Lawrence has stepped it up lately, but I would still argue that when it comes to, if you ask the normal NFL fan of anyone in that QB draft class of who's really stepped it up this year, I would say 95% of the time you'd hear Fields over Lawrence before. I kind of agree with, I don't think Lawrence has gotten as much press coverage. And I think, we've said repeatedly that Chargers don't get as much love by national media and everything like that. But I still think that would be a no-brainer. And I think Herbert is actually starting to get more love than people think just after the whole Tua thing and stuff like that. So I think Lawrence is still put in a very accurate position in terms of kind of where he is. Josh, did you want to take a guess on the spreads? And I can give you
Josh a guess. I want Josh. No, don't give him a hint. I want Josh to guess.
Okay.
All right, I'll go Bills -5. I'll go Bengals. I'll go Bengals. I'm gonna go -5 for the Bengals too. And then I'm gonna go Jags -3 over the Chargers.
Okay, so you actually nailed one of them. Well, kind of nailed one of them. And it was Bengals. Bengals is 5.5. So you're pretty spot on. Okay. I'll count it.
I'm a tough critic of myself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the Bama blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is gonna surprise you guys. Because when you were saying this of would people take Lawrence over Herbert, I do think this line represents of where kind of everyone else sees that kind of debate, I guess, if you will. Chargers is -2.5 against the Jags.
Chargers are favored?
Chargers are favored.
All right.
Yeah. And then the line for the Dolphins Bills highly represents that Tua's not going to play. Bills is -10.
10. Wow. What was it today? Do you know what it was today?
No, it wasn't out today because they wouldn't know yet.
Would you jump
-10.
as a guy that is known for wagering? Will you jump on that right now, thinking that Tua might play?
Yeah, because I think if it's officially out, if he's officially out, I think that number is probably going to grow because people are going to hammer it a little bit. So I think it's going to get bigger. I would actually, if you feel really good about the Chargers, like you actually do, and you're in a state that's legal to gamble, I would really take that 2.5 right now. Because I don't think I think it's gonna go the other way, just with people, like I said, coming in pretty hot, just going Herbert, Chargers, high-powered offense, Lawrence, first time in the playoffs. Yeah, it's Herbert's too, but let's be honest, Herbert is 10 times better and probably will handle the spotlight a little bit better than Lawrence. So I think that line I would take right away. The line that's going to be interesting is Bengals 5.5. I have no idea what to do with that line. That makes my head be spaghetti. I have no idea what to do with that, man. Ravens have lost me so much money, man. And Lamar Jackson kicks me in the nuts every Sunday. So
what's the chance? What's the chances Lamar and Tua play next week? Is there a word on that?
So I've read that. There's a Ravens insider guy that I do Sunday show with, and Lamar is probably going to play. Like it's everything points to Lamar Jackson is playing in the playoffs. To what the alert I got on my phone today was he's still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So and that's
going
to be Buffalo.
I don't know. That's weird, man. I wouldn't play Tua the rest of the season. He's taking too many crazy hits, and I don't think that team's even good enough to win if he plays.
No, they can't. They can't win without Tua. Yeah, they can't win without Tua.
So,
which sucks because that was like a fun team this year to kind of just watch.
Sure, they're a lot of fun to watch. It's God, man. There's so many things that are going to happen. Okay, tomorrow, this is Black Monday tomorrow. You're going to see all these coaches that are going to get blown out and which positions open up. Some are surprises. It's interesting because again, I know you aren't far from Chicago, Mario, and the Chicago deal is interesting because Chicago now has the number 1 pick in the draft. From the outside, from where we are with Chicago, it always seems like Chicago fans are so all in on their team. It almost feels like they're blind on what the Bears actually are. And it sounds ridiculous, but the Bears in their franchise history, which, they've been around forever, have never had that big time wide receiver. I mean, Hall of Fame wide receiver, the Hall of Fame quarterback. And you're like, how's it taken this long? Justin Fields, it seems like the fan base and obviously the league is saying, okay, Justin Fields is your guy. That's not the guy you're gonna go with. Now, you aren't going to flip him out. You're going to keep Justin Fields. With the Bears, could the Bears change coaches? When we do our next show, will the Bears change head coaches or will the Bears keep their guy? What is the future for the team with the number 1 pick in the draft?
I feel like there's so many different outcomes, right? Like of what you could do. No one would blame you for just keeping it and going, hey, let's take the best guy in the draft and Will Anderson. Like no one can blame you for that. Like that's a smart play. At the same time, no one can blame you either going, hey, Lions want to trade up, Seahawks want to trade up. That's also good because you can go, hey, let's say the 2 teams behind us want quarterbacks. We don't want a quarterback. We're fine with our defensive end. So why not trade down, pull the Danny Ainge of the Boston Celtics? I know I can get my guy at 3. When I can get him at 1, but I know I can get him at 3 too. So why not just trade down? So I think that move's a very smart move on the by the Bears as well. The coach situation, everything out, this is the weirdest thing ever. Like I'm a diehard Bulls fan, and if you read any Bulls thing right now, about half the city wants Billy Donovan on fire, and the other half wants to praise him. So that's like the weird thing. There's not a lot of bad stuff said about Flus. Like people really like Eberflus. People are like praising him for the job he's done this year, which like he sucked. So it's like I don't know why we're like praising him. The team wasn't very good. Yeah, they showed a fight, but schemes weren't there, and Getsy was not a good play caller. And it's also what people are not really talking about is they still have to hire a new CEO, right? So new guy's going to come in. What is that new CEO going to think? Like, does he want to keep Poles and Flus there? Like, if it's Kevin Warren from the Big Ten, he's done a lot of successful things in the Big Ten. He's bringing USC and UCLA, which say what you want. It's kind of a genius move with money-wise. Brought in Nebraska. He's probably going to change things up a little bit. So it's like if they come in and let's say he tells Poles, I want Flus gone, and then some guy there comes in, it's going to be interesting. I personally think maybe it's not a bad idea to maybe say, Flus, nice job.
Yeah.
Here's some Girl Scout cookies. Enjoy them on the way out. Like, I don't know. Give him the key card. Get a offensive mind in there. But I think it's going to be the most intriguing thing in this offseason is watching what they do. Because they also have the most cap space, too. So if you have a free agent, they could go after in a big market. But we're also talking about the Chicago Bears, who suck at every moment. And they always find a way to blow it, dude.
Sound like what you said I like what you said about doing the old Boston Celtics move, where they wanted Tatum the whole time, and they knew they could make the trade and get Tatum at 3. Will Anderson's the guy. I mean, and we'll get into draft talk like crazy, but the Bears aren't looking for a quarterback, but if you can get your guy at 3, you end up with another number 1 pick or 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s or whatever the card is that tells you what the trade would be. How could you not do it? And just very curious to know, because the name that came up, the reason I led into this was, and I don't expect him to make a decision tomorrow, but man, it is everywhere that Sean McVay is done. That Sean McVay of the Rams, who just won a Super Bowl, less than a year ago, in his 30s, is willing to walk away and leave $57 million on the table. That he's getting burnout. And again, you guys are young. It happened before you guys were born. But Dick Vermeil took the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, loses, and then he's like, I got to get out. And it was for his health. It was too much on his body, and it was just too much, as much time as he was putting into it. And if you look at the Rams situation, we all know they have 0 draft picks coming up. The organization's in a deep hole. Don't be surprised. Aaron Donald, who threatened retirement, a year ago, and Cooper Kupp's not going anywhere. And you have Matthew Stafford. I mean, they have a lot of veterans on that team. When healthy, could they fix it? Yeah, but I don't think a lot of those guys even want to play for another coach outside of McVay. Like Jalen Ramsey would have to be traded, and Cooper Kupp I don't think is going anywhere. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron Donald say maybe 1 more year and I'm out. And so it changes the whole entire franchise. But he would be the biggest coaching name to change. And Josh went through it on Thursday about, I think you came up with six coaches you thought were going to lose their job on Monday. And you guys saw it during the game. We speaking about it. We've been pushing for Sean Payton the entire show, and the Denver Broncos have reached out to Sean Payton. We know that Sean Payton, not only did we want him with the Chargers, but he might end up with a team inside our division. That would be a nightmare for Los Angeles.
I just don't know why he would do it. And Sean Payton to Denver doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why would you want to deal with that headache, man? That franchise in a bad spot. What do you say?
I think there are some weapons, man, with the wide receivers. I mean, we just saw what Jerry Jeudy did. Cortland Sutton's the real deal. Latavius Murray's 100.
Where would you rank Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy duo-wise in the NFL receivers? You could find something better, I think, in a better spot than Russell Wilson. You don't want to deal with that.
Would you take the Bears job, or would you take the Broncos job if you were Sean Payton?
Bears job.
Really?
Higher ceiling. If you have any success in, like you said, these guys are egos. If you have any success in Chicago, you are a hero. You are a god. And you're given a very young kid who is pretty raw talented, who has not even reached close to his potential yet. Now there's some things to be done where you need a receiving core, and yes, there's a receiving core in Broncos. But Jared Jeudy had a big game today. Jared Jeudy was talking about leaving Denver at the deadline, like he was like a trade topic. And usually when you're a trade topic, I mean I don't know if a player's on the trading block. Usually they're not really that pumped about it, and they kind of remember that when it comes free agency or comes time for a new contract.
Yeah, I'm with Mario. The difference between the Broncos and the Bears is you have to go against Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins and 100-year-old Aaron Rodgers compared to Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and whoever the Raiders get. And something tells you the Raiders are going to get somebody good, because you have three quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Lamar Jackson that could all go to the Raiders eventually. So I don't know what happens with the Raiders, but you're talking about pieces. If I was Sean Payton, I know it's not a thing that's going to happen, but you'd even rather go to the Raiders with what they have with Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller and Devontae Adams. I just don't think Jerry Jeudy and Cortland and Josh Jacobs. I don't know how good Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are duo-wise in the NFL for Sean Payton to want to jump over to that mess. So I don't think it happens. I know they're talking to him. It'd be funny if he just didn't answer the phone. Like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do that.
Russell Wilson did something very straning. I mean, everything Russell Wilson did this year was very weird. Yeah. I mean, he's been really the most awkward person this year. He took shots at Jerry Jeudy, and he wasn't throwing him the ball, and he didn't have any faith in him. He wasn't as blatant as the way Aaron Rodgers is to his receivers, but basically he didn't believe Jerry Jeudy was a top-notch guy. And then Jerry Jeudy came out and said, Russell Wilson's my guy, just a few weeks ago. Remember that? And he was like, I'm all in on Russell Wilson and Russ this and Russ that. And everyone's kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, he disrespected you. He hasn't gotten you the ball. And boy, it looked like Russell Wilson was looking for Jerry Jeudy all day as kind of like a payback for saying nice things about him. It was like this whole relation. Did we just become best friends? It was like that. It was the old Step Brothers thing. It was weird. The whole thing was weird to go, man, what happened to just finding the open guy, doing your reads and finding the open guy instead of I'm taking care of the guy that went to the media and told everyone how great I am. And he still believes in me. Strange.
Yeah. Not to mention there could be some big receivers on the market if you think about it.
Yeah.
I
am so interested in this offseason. I always am. But, I mean, the Chicago Bears will be such a hot topic. If the Dallas Cowboys lose to Tampa next week, obviously that becomes one of those. Does he keep his job? Are the Cowboys looking for Sean Payton or another coach? By the way, the last time the Cowboys won a road game in the playoffs, can you guys take any guess at all? I'll give you a hint. It was before both of you were born.
Oh, 1991.
I'm going to go 93.
93, January 17th, 1993 was the last time the Cowboys won a road playoff game.
Wow.
That's insane. I mean, that's America's team. That's the team that we talk about in this country first thing Monday morning every week. It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know if the Cowboys, if they make a change or not, but again, what the Bears are doing to me, and I know it's small, I guess I don't know what the saying is. It's on the bottom of the list. Kind of like there always say there are a couple teams in the NFL people don't care about, and I hate to say it, they're almost all in the AFC South. But people outside of the Colts, people don't pay attention to the Titans, the Jaguars, the Texans. But I'm very curious to know what the Titans do. They have nothing on that roster outside of a guy like Derrick Henry and people who follow Jeffrey Simmons. But do you start just saying we're dumping this entire roster to try and get draft picks? I mean, looking back at it, and Josh lives in Nashville now, is when they decided to trade A.J. Brown to Philadelphia, it was the end of the franchise, I think, right now for that team.
Couldn't agree more about that. We'll get into that. But yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I mean, there's so much to talk about this offseason. Again, we're going to be back in a couple of days. I know we can go on and on, but I'm looking forward to all this stuff as it unfolds. But want to remind people, if you're listening to the show on Sunday night after today's Chargers game, tomorrow's the big day. You want to pay attention to your phone, Twitter, whatever it is. But tomorrow's the day you're going to start getting messages on your phone that this guy's out, this guy's out, this guy's out. And usually it's seven every Black Monday that somebody's out. I'm guessing you're going to see 5 to 6 within the next 24 hours of coaches that have lost their jobs. But we'll be very interesting to see how this works out. We'll be back in a couple days. Again, the most important thing is the Chargers are in the postseason. They will face Jacksonville next weekend. We're excited about it. The line, as Mario says, the Chargers are favored, which is fantastic because Vegas isn't in the business of losing money. So looking forward to seeing what happens there. But again, tonight, as we wrap up Sunday, Chargers end up losing today. Final score, it's Denver 31, Los Angeles 28. We'll be back in a few days talking more Charger football, getting you ready for the playoff game against the Jaguars. For Josh Palet, Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. Thanks again for listening to the Bolt City podcast, and we'll talk to you in a couple days.